Said, all right, here's your warning about no license plate on the front of your car. Oh, he ran the tent on the side of the window. He went on and on and on looking for something. And then he was so embarrassed by it in the end, he gave me the warning, which is also a psych warfare deal, even though he hasn't been told. They're giving lots of warnings now to make people psychologically think before an even bigger revenue generation and nitpicking operation that you were warned. The point is they set all this up as an excuse to make us slaves and to get us to accept the fact that we're slaves through little fake procedural baloney systems. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back live. It's just such an epiphany for me. And I know it. I know you know it. But, you know, something you already know really hits you. That this system is consciously evil. It's got all these well-meaning people working for it. The average cop is like a hunter. They're just out hunting for infractions. And, yeah, they know it's revenue, but if you don't do it, the whole system will become lawless. And, oh, what are we going to do? The point is, when you are out there nickel and diming people for no reason and wanting to search their cars and stuff, while the whole government at the top is engaged in massive crimes, it is an abomination. It is a fraud. And that cop was going, what's in that bottle? What's going on here? What's going on there? And I'm just like, you're just trying to make me feel like I'm the bad guy. Subconsciously, probably. It's all about, and all these signs where the cops are standing there on billboards going, we're going out tonight. Don't drink and drive. And all the PSAs, it's all about how government cares about you. And government can be trusted, but you can't. And I'm just like, you know what? I don't even really speed anymore. I very rarely will be out on some country road and will open it up. And then I'm afraid of deer. I've got my children to take care of. I've got a operation against the globalists to take care of. So even though I like to drive 150 miles an hour, I don't even do that anymore. I don't even do it twice a year. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm good. You're bad. You work for a certifiable, verified tyranny. And they act like, oh, it's Obama doing it. Oh, it's Bush doing it. Those are nothing puppets. We've got a sick globalist oligarchy running our country. I'm going to stop ranting now and go to your calls. It's just, we're in trouble. It isn't going to get better. It's going to get worse. And those silly little police officers, they're having their future destroyed by this just like we all are. And I talk about cops a lot because in every tyranny, they're where the rubber meets the road. And they've got a tough job as well. A lot of them aren't bad people. But they're so brainwashed like everybody else. And if they could just know what I knew. But they've got to want to know. Like when I had the FBI here one time. And I said, you don't know about all this? I was talking about Oklahoma City and government sterilization. And the FBI guy says, no, I don't know and I don't want to know. And I had his attention. And right then I had no respect. Oh, you don't want to know. Like you deny all this is going on, so it just goes away. You're like somebody saying, well, it looks like my neighbor's burying something in their backyard. It looks like a body, but I'm just going to live in denial about that. That makes you an accessory. You make me sick. But we got it so good in this country. All right, let's start with Corey in North Carolina. You got about a minute, Corey. Go ahead.
It will be loaded immediately, and you can go ahead and process your file as soon as that is all.
Yeah, he's taking another call or doing something else. Guy's calling in while he's at work. He's telling somebody, you can go ahead and process your file while you do that. We'll go back to him later, whatever. Be glad you got a talk show host that's so wound up and cares so much about knowing reality that most talk show hosts lean on callers, lean on clips, lean on guests. Not us. We have guests on because I want to hear what they have to say and bounce my ideas off of them. Look, I can't stand people not knowing reality. It's frustrating. I'm looking at an article from CBS News. Adams County sued over death man held for 25 days. Incredible. I'm going to get to this later. Man, now, even though when it's on video and you don't touch cops, they charge you with assault. He didn't understand the police. They, of course, grabbed him. And, of course, they charged him with assaulting him. And they held him for 25 days because they didn't have an interpreter. They just throw you in dungeons now and waddle off. Such a crook government. Don't all you crooks understand that once crooks take over, everything falls apart because none of you will, you'll all just BS each other forever? Let's go to Tate in Detroit. Tate, you're on the air. Thanks for holding.
Hey, Alex, love you, man. I'm going to have to disagree with you. I don't want you to get worked up and ruin the rest of the show, but I really think that you missed an opportunity to educate the hearts and minds of on Occupy Wall Street by not being involved in it. There is a massive disgruntled people there that know Wall Street has taken over this country in a fascist dictatorship. The problem is that their solutions are flawed, and I think that if you and many other prominent libertarians would have gotten involved, that we could actually change the dialogue and actually get an educated response on what we could do in this new system.
Well, Tate, here's the problem. I don't agree with your characterization. What happened with Occupied Wall Street is Ron Paul stuff's not allowed. InfoWars signs are torn down. The leadership of it is George Sorosian, and is Obamanoid. And it's a very diverse group, and we've made videos, reports, had them on, covered it, reached out to them with the facts. I mean, I've had my reporters down there in Austin, and they say, you don't come down here with a Ron Paul sign. Get out of here. Literally going, get out of here. Get out of here. We're banned off the Occupy Wall Street website. So, I mean, what do you say to that, Tate?
Why is the media so against these people and calling them dirty and name-calling and actually...
It's a full-spectrum dominance dialectic, sir. It's a manipulation. The globalists call for the revolution because they know there's already about to be a real one. They make it against capitalism. A diverse group shows up. The establishment goes in, infiltrates it, tries to take control of it on one end from the left, while also demonizing protest by demonizing them on the other hand. It's a full-spectrum analysis, a full-spectrum attack.
And many others would disagree with you.
Do what?
Kaiser and Celente would disagree with you. Many other prominent people would disagree with you that this is an actual genuine uprising against a dictatorship that Wall Street's controlling.
Yeah. Well, listen, I have those guys on the show, but I mean, in the final equation, I follow my counsel. I don't really brag about myself, but, you know, my elevator goes all the way to the top. My head's screwed on straight, and I built something pretty substantive here with my understanding of things. I have other people on because I find them interesting and want their perspective. But, again, you also kind of, Celente overall says this is the beginning of a revolution, and overall it's good. I agree with that. That's the same thing Kaiser says, but he also admits that it's been infiltrated. I mean, they're calling for an end of capitalism. That's what the bankers want. I mean, it's on record that Obama and Soros and others are in there running this, and MoveOn.org. And I said that months ago, and it's still true. I'm right. I mean, it's easy to just say, hey, I love Occupy Wall Street, you're great. But, again, I threw out issues of them going after my free speech, others' free speech. You have nothing to say to that. I said there's a diverse group, but the system put the group, called the group to be there. People showed up. They were already upset. You just don't understand what I'm saying, Tate. And you sound like a smart guy. So I don't think you're trying to understand what I'm saying. Okay? But hey, the good news is you're out there. You can get out there and educate them then. We'll be right back. Stay with us. A lot of incredible things are obviously happening right now. I remember reading Trilateral Commission documents from the 1970s where they said they would create the three economic unions, implode them through derivatives, then out of that currency crisis, merge them. Well, now they're announcing a Bank of the World, a financial union in Europe to unify everything and to be able to send literal military-style police in to raise the money and get rid of all sovereignty that's left. And they have the nerve to spin it as, it's like a United States of America. Really, United States of America with unelected socialist, globalist bureaucrats that make 70+% of the laws for England. even though they're not members, where England can't vote on even getting out of it and never voted to get in. And most of the countries never allowed votes. When they do, they vote to get out. And then it's a tiny group of elite banks making all the other free market systems look bad with their own publications like The Economist and Time Magazine blaming the free market for what they have done. And the uneducated public, in many respects, is falling for it. Look at Occupy Wall Street. Generally, not the whole group, but the leaders of it. They're saying, capitalism did this. No, capitalism didn't create unfair NAFTA and GATT deals. Capitalism didn't ship our jobs overseas to sweetheart communist dictatorships where they put taxes on us and tax breaks to leave. That's not a level playing field. Free market didn't give 16+ trillion and then some and other bailouts to offshore banks in Europe. And now they're going to raise the taxes, cut the benefits, and austerity, and blame capitalism for it. Incredible. Joining us to talk about this and MF Global and more is Peter Schiff. He's CEO of Euro-Pacific Capital, author of How an Economy Grows and Why it Crashes, and host of the Peter Schiff Show right here on the GCN Radio Network. Europac.net is the website. Of course, if you just joined us, I'm Alex Jones of Infowars.com and Infowars Nightly News at Prisonplanet.tv. where Peter's also joined us recently. Peter Schiff, so much is happening now. You're talking about total Europe implosion just to hold folks hostage to get this new power grab. But even if the system gets that, where is it going? What's happening? You predicted much of what is now unfolding. And how does this tie into the loss of confidence in commodities markets due to the MF Global situation, now over $3 billion?
Well, I don't know how much you can connect MF Global to Europe, other than the fact that it was its bad bets on European bonds that ultimately led to its demise. But I suppose if it wasn't European bonds, it could have been something else that they were speculating with. But the most disturbing part about it is they were using customer funds, and of course it's John Corzine, former governor, former U.S. senator, that was the mastermind behind MF Global. He was running it. He ran it into bankruptcy. And it's very scary because he is the guy that designed President Obama's economic policy, as if it actually needed somebody to design it. I mean, a little kid could have thought it up. But the fact that it was Corzine, who I guess his plan is going to do for America what it did for MF Global, that's a pretty scary proposition. But I don't know how this is all going to shake out in the short run in Europe. The problem is they got too much debt. They got too much debt because they got too much government. And one of the reasons that governments were able to borrow a lot of money is because interest rates were very low for a while. During most of the last decade, the Fed had interest rates very low. As a result of that, all the other countries had low interest rates, and Europe in particular, when you brought a lot of these weaker economies like Italy and Spain and Portugal and Greece into the Eurozone, they got a big drop in interest rates because historically, if the Italians wanted to borrow money or the Greeks wanted to borrow money, it was expensive because people knew they were going to get paid back in drachma or lira, and they knew there was going to be a lot of inflation. But all of a sudden, when they had the euro, the bond market was much more confident. So the Italians